fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, Deku, he has done a few things. Now, in the last part, Deku, after he took the captured yautja to a place for him to rest, Deku encountered other humans. Now, Deku, he already knows from a prior experience, the humans here have quirks. Along with that, if they are anything like him in the way he does think, they will not hesitate to look out for themselves and kill anyone in their way. Now, Deku, yeah. And the last part, 2 humans ended up dying because of Deku's actions. Deku also battling against a yautja and killing him in combat. Now, Deku, he also did actually release the female yautja, since he did actually see this as a bit of a thing he can use to his advantage. If he does let her go right now, then if he does survive through the week, Deku might be able to use this as a bargaining chip. Deku, he held the life of somebody in his hands, and he let them go because he didn't deem them worthy of a hunt. And Deku's mind, that's how he's viewing things. He's starting to understand very quickly how these people do work. They have advanced technology, the ability to travel through the stars and go light years ahead of people. They can go to any planet they want in the universe, but they use basic tools, knives, and, well, they collect trophies. These people are hunters, and they view strength as the only thing to worship. So, Deku just hopes he made the right decision for right now. Now, that being said, Deku, he did use some of the equipment to go to head out, as we do actually have where Deku is going to wake up about a few hours later. And he actually is going to reach his hand down and go to pull up a small little platform, or device is going to start pressing buttons on it. Now, Deku, he does see that it's the middle of the night, and that with his current location, he is about 20 to 25 miles away from that bunker. And without the equipment he's currently carrying, he is slowing down. Now, Deku is well aware of this. Some of the equipment is compactable. However, the gun is not. The bow and arrow he found, it can fold together and collapse. However, yeah, the spear, the throwing knives, the grenades, the gun, his chest plate, his medkit, and his handgun, along with even the grenades and ammunition he's carrying. It's quite a bit of equipment. And Deku is quickly trying to piece together what he could do. Now, Deku, yeah, he does have a few ideas that do come to mind. The ammunition, it works for a human firearm. However, it's for a rifle, and Deku, he only has a human handgun. And the laser rifle, if you don't want to give it that name, it takes a sort of box ammo. So, right now, he basically has useless ammo, and carrying it is not an option. Now, Deku, he's remembering a few things he did learn. As we actually where Deku does go to look down towards the ground and see if there's anything down there. He doesn't think anything is caught in his traps. However, at the same time, he's very concerned about what might be beneath him, since he's hearing a few things move down there. Now, Deku, he actually has to wait, as he has to look back down at his map and go to try and think. This technology is based on the same technology as the yautja mask, or the alien's mask. So, if he finds a way to use these components in these little gadgets, could he theoretically repair the mask he still does have on him? It is a good idea. The technology could be compatible if he does understand it enough. But at the same time, he could also just jury rig it. Or he could just take out another yautja. That is another option he does have. So, he's just wondering if any more will come after him, since he's technically taken down 2. But then again, there's also the fact that more will actually try. If he's correct, he's deemed himself to be a very, very valuable trophy. So, he does have that going for him. Now, Deku, yeah, he does actually hear something, as he is going to quickly turn and leap off of the tree, as he is going to start flying down towards the ground. Now, Deku, he does immediately go to bring up his hand and begin to use his knife. Him stabbing a knife into a tree as he starts to feel it give way and cut right through the bottom part, as he does try to swing his body underneath it and try to flip his body. Now, as Deku does do, he does quickly start to fly through the air forwards, as he does reach out and kick off of a tree. Now, Deku, he's trying to keep moving. He needs to keep constant momentum for this, just like back during training. Okay, Deku leaping to the right, and then going to push off with his hand, with a lot of force. Now, we actually have the yautjas back at their command center on the ship, who they're currently tracking Deku. He hasn't moved in the last 7 hours, and all of a sudden, his movement went into a full-on pattern, or a strange pattern. Now, we actually do have where they do pull up a 3D model of the forest, and there actually is Deku's tracker, which is currently zigzagging between 2 areas, and moving back and forth. Now, the yautjas they do see this, as we actually have where Deku he does go flying through the air and going to step off of a tree, as he has to throw his right hand up and go to grab a branch and swing. Now, the one thing actually is going to do, he does look over his shoulder, as he can still hear it chasing after him. Now, Deku, he knows, as he's going to do one thing. As he is going to swing through the air, he is going to bring up his right hand, as he does go to reach into the bag and try to pull a grenade. Now, Deku, he does feel a grenade. It's not the right one, however. I'm going to grab one that's more like a pipe, pulling it outwards as he's going to bring up his hands. Deku going to pull the pin on it before just dropping it right underneath him, as Deku does go swinging through the air once more and going to bring his hands up to cover his ears. Now, the flashbang does go off, as the bright light does shoot through the forest. And Deku is going to do one thing, as he is going to land and going to actually quickly go to turn, bringing up the firearm, or at least the gun he does have in his hands, as Deku is going to unload 4 shots into the alien. Now, Deku does actually hear one connect, as he does see neon blood. Now, the moment Deku actually is going to see that, he does do one thing. He does just turn and start moving once again, as he does start to follow the alien. Now, these things' blood, it glows in the dark. He's seen some of corpses, or seen some of their corpses, so he's at least gotten enough experience with them. Their biology is still a mystery to him. However, he's starting to understand them more. He doesn't know if they speak a language, they just make strange sounds. If they did, he can't decode it. So, there is at least that going for them. Now, Deku, he's currently running on tree branches, as he's still up in the air, about 15 feet above the alien. And actually, what Deku he does go to get his bow and get it ready, as it does collapse outwards, and Deku just going to bring his hand upwards towards behind his back, as he's going to pull a arrow from a quiver. Now, Deku, as he does pull the arrow, he does going to put it into his bow, quickly pulling it backwards as he's still running. As he does wait for 1, 2, it's going to shoot to the left, and Deku is going to quickly aim 5 feet in front of it before letting go. The arrow shooting through the air and actually stabbing right into the xenomorph's side, or at least where its lungs might be. Now, Deku does watch the xenomorph actually go to smash and fall into the ground, before quickly trying to get back up, and Deku he does just go to bring down the laser rifle, as he does blast open the xenomorph's back. Now, as that does actually happen, Deku does start to hear more things, more xenomorphs. Now, Deku does go to quickly move. As he does move through the air, you'd actually have where he does turn to see something. As he's running on top of the tree line, he actually does see a tree start to collapse. Now, Deku he does go from quickly trying to jump through the air to actually trying to reach out and push off of a tree to try and dodge it. As Deku he does actually get almost caught up in it. Deku was able to turn his body onto try and push off of the tree, before smashing his back into one and actually going to fall downwards and almost fall off of the tree. Deku trying to hold on to the new ground he does have, or the very large branch he is standing on. Now, it's a tree trunk, my bad. Now, Deku, I've been trying to figure out that name for a while. Anyways, Deku he does go to try and look in that direction. Did he just run into a trap? Now, that is what Deku does think, as he starts to hear firearms starting to go off. And he does just see something. There are a few humans right here, and many of them are trying to hold the area. Now, Deku does find this to be quite surprising, as he just does stand there, watching as xenomorphs are starting to begin to crowd the area. And it does actually surprise Deku. Deku, he didn't realize it, but there's actually a lot of xenomorphs in this area. He's at least heard a few. However, right here, there's got to be at least 10 or 20 of them. This isn't good. This area is too heavily infected. Now, Deku, he actually does hear something, as he has to look up towards the sky, as there's a large beacon. Now, the other humans actually do go to look up towards the sky, as many of them are still trying to defend the area and shoot at the xenomorphs. Now, Deku he does just wonder what that is, as a few ideas do run through his mind. That information, or, well, crate, it could contain a lot of information that they do need. Resources, ammunition, medical supplies, and even possibly areas for them to gain more resources. That is a literal treasure trove. And the area it's dropping in, he's guessing they have an ambush set up there. Now, Deku, as he is thinking that, he does actually get ambushed by another yautja, as the yautja it did actually try to smash Deku into the tree. Now, Deku, whenever he did actually start to get pushed into the tree, he did just go to do one thing. He did go to throw his body backwards and to the left, as he go flying downwards and off of the tree. Deku going to actually bring his hands downwards and start to bend his body, as you do actually have where he does go to land to the ground. Him going to turn and quickly start to run off. Now, the yautja was very annoyed. He heard that that one's excellent in hand-to-hand combat, and he killed their friend. However, it's very annoying. He wants his first blood to be a very, very worthy trophy. And from what he understands, that one is worthy. Now, Deku, he does quickly try to get back up into the tree line, and off of the ground where the bugs are infecting the area. Now, Deku, He does successfully do this, as he's rushing through the trees, and the yautja it is chasing after him. Now, eventually the yautja does catch up, and Deku, he is actually going to do one thing. Whenever he did go to leap through the air, the yautja is actually going to throw a knife towards Deku. It's going to slice into the side of Deku's leg or the inside of his left thigh. As Deku, he's actually going to turn back around and going to try and throw something towards the yautja. Now, the yautja is actually going to try and leap out of the way of this, and going to go duck downwards, down towards the ground, as he thought Deku threw a grenade. Now, that wasn't a grenade. However, the yautja, he's still very skeptical about what Deku is doing. Now, Deku, he does continue to run, and the yautja does continue to give chase. Deku has to think quickly on his feet. If he doesn't, he's going to die. So, this point where Deku does do one thing. As he's rushing through the area, he does see a large puddle of dirt. And he does actually start to look around the area and expect it a bit more. As he's going to jump downwards and smashing his body right into it. Him going to strip of his gear and covering his body in the mud. Now, as Deku is going to do that, he does going to grab his bow and arrow and take a single arrow and get ready. Now, Deku does also start to get ready with another, at least, trick he does know. So, let's see what this will do. Now, as Deku, he's setting a trap, the yautja does come into the area. Him finding some of Deku's equipment and even the laser gun he did have. Now, the yautja does go to actually pick up the gun and inspect it, being quite confused. Him going to look down towards the ammunition compartment and seeing that it doesn't have anything inside. As I was going to try and inspect the rest of Deku's equipment. His grenades are here. His handgun is here. However, his bow and arrow is missing. Now, he does just think that Deku lightened his load and continued to run. It would make sense if he got back up in the tree line. However, it doesn't make sense. He's not picking up anything on thermal. Now, Deku is going to say something in yautja, asking if he's found his prey. The yautja going to actually spin around and being confused, asking exactly if they're nearby. I am nearby. However, your prey, he's very tricky. Do not trust anything you hear. Now, the yautja is confused. This statement, why would another yautja talk to them? They're supposed to be hunting. Does this yautja also seek the same challenge he does? Now, you do actually where Deku, he does get to do one thing. He does bend down and go to actually blow hot air onto a rock. As he's going to actually turn his hand and go to directly toss it as far as he can. Now, the yautja, his sensor does pick up on that. As in the corner of his vision, he does see a blip of orange fly through the air. Him turning that way and going to actually rush in that direction. Now, as he does go to find the rock, he is very confused. As he does think that Deku, he's gone into the swamp water and underwater to avoid him. Now, Deku is going to do one thing. As he does go to toss a, well, let's just say a metal container directly at the yautja. As Deku did whistle. Now, the yautja, yeah. And they're going to spin back around and look towards Deku. Now, it would actually see that Deku, his heat signature, it's all sorts of different colors. Blue, yellow, and even orange. As it does go to try and rush towards Deku, before Deku, the thing he does toss at the yautja, he does just going to bring up his hand with the bow and arrow. As just let go of the arrow and it does shoot through the air. Now, Deku, he just tossed a container of ammunition right at the yautja. However, he did a few things. He removed the tips of the bullets, along with even the brass metal inside, filling it with the gunpowder and just covering over it with a branch. As the spark that has happened whenever the arrow does directly punch right into the metal container, yeah. The yautja does actually have a portion of his chest cavity blown open, as if it was a short-range shotgun blast. And yikes. The yautja actually does go moving backwards and smashing down into the water, as it is going to try and get back up, but Deku just walk forwards. As he does look right down at the yautja, who does going to try and bring his hand up and reach out towards Deku. Deku just doing one thing, as he does go to grab the yautja by his hand and go to pull him upwards, reaching out and grabbing his mask as he does go to let go of him. Now, Deku does then go to bring down one of his legs and stomp right down to the yautja's chest, holding him under the water as Deku does go to bring the hand up with a mask and put it on, as Deku can now see Thermal, him looking around. Now, we do actually cut back over to the observation room, where many yautjas are getting very annoyed. This contestant, if you do want to give him that title, this prey, he is a sneaky one. He's being able to outdo them in ways they don't expect. It's very interesting. Now, you do to think Deku has 10 kills. 5 alien, 3 human, and 2 yautja. This is very intriguing. Now, we do actually know where Deku, after he does look down and stop seeing bubbles, he does actually turn back towards his equipment, going to walk over and pick it up, as he starts to rush towards and head over to where that airdrop was. Now, Deku, he is well aware of the new advantage he has over every human in the forest. He can now see in thermal. He has night vision. So, if anyone at least has a night vision based quirk, he's on the same level as them. Along with that, there actually is the breath or the rebreather or whatever it is inside this mask. It does help Deku. It's very strange because he can tell the difference in oxygen. He doesn't know exactly what the difference in the air is, but it doesn't feel right. He doesn't know if this planet is, well, has better oxygen, or if it's just because of the way Earth is structured. So, they're at least faster on this planet because they can absorb more oxygen faster. It does start to make sense when you just try to piece it together. The layout, certain creatures he's seen, and many other things. He does need more information to go off of to base his theory on, but he at least just has something working in his mind. Now, we actually do have where Deku he does get to the airdrop, and there actually is where Deku he does see a few humans who are picking it apart. As Deku he's just sitting there squatting against a tree, with the mask on and the bow and arrow in his hand. Now, Deku is just trying to count the heat signatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, Deku he is just waiting, as he is going to look through the trees and try and see other yautja, as he does at least pick up on one heat signature. Now, Deku is very intrigued. Whenever he does actually go to bring up his hand to press the button to turn off the thermal, he can see something. This thing can apparently see the yautjas who are invisible. So, that's a very interesting thing to him. Now, Deku he is just wondering, do anyone else know that these things have some sort of cloak technology? If they don't, they're in for a lot of trouble. Now, Deku, yeah, he is just waiting, as he's watching the humans down below starting to get a bit more into an argument. Many of them want to take the best weapons, since they want to increase their own chances of survival. However, that's just the problem. They want the best weapons. But the original person who did come to this airdrop has already been killed. So, they're just trying to scavenge what they can without starting a bloodbath. And Deku does already know how this is going to go. So he just do one thing. He does go to reach down to his bag and pull out a grenade. As he does go to tape it, or at least try to wrap it around one of his arrows. And he does go to pull back his bow. As he does go to aim upwards, turn it that direction, aim up a little more to the left or to the right, and fire. Now, Deku, he does get to do that, as the arrows go flying through the air, and Rookie smashes right down towards somebody's foot. As he do look down towards it, and then go to at least hear it ticking. Oh fuck, this being where the grenade does blow up. And at least 3 people are sent flying. Now, the yautjas are very confused, as they do go to turn on their own heat signature technology, or at least a yautja is going to do that and see Deku. They can see a mask on his face, along with they really see a bow and arrow. Now, at this point, with the distance that they're currently at, they do want to mistake him for another yautja. However, there's the technology he's using. He's being a bit more tactful, if you do want to put it that way. His hunting must be because he wants to gain more trophies, not because of power. Now, there actually is where they actually do speak to the yautjas through their mask, and Deku does hear the transmission, as the yautjas do inform them that that is not another yautja. That would be the human. He is currently on their comms. The human can understand us. He's wearing our technology. Do not be absurd. He must have just taken it from another fallen. Somebody too weak. At least he's proven his own strength. Besides, I doubt he can. I am on your comms. Now, y'all just do go to freeze. As do actually where Deku does go to fire another bow and arrow. Or another arrow as it goes flying through the air. This time, the arrow does actually send out a large booming flash, and the humans they're all trying to fight against a threat they can't see. As Deku does inform the yautjas that right now he just wants to get off of this rock, and if they do want to try to fight him, they damn well can. However, he does start to understand many of the things their culture does believe in, and that he will go one-on-one if they do want to try and prove to be worthy against him. He's already racked up 13 kills in the last 2 days, 2 of which would be their fellow companions. Now, they're very surprised. A human who can not only speak their language but match them. This is very interesting. Now, we actually have with the yautjas, they do actually agree to the terms Deku has set. And yeah, the yautjas who are currently watching this, they're very confused. As Deku, after the humans down below are wiped out, one thing does go to happen. Deku, he does go to walk into the area where the airdrop is, as he does start to loot the bodies of the humans and try to pick up whatever he can. Now, Deku does find ammo for his handgun, some grenades, and even weapons, which they would be way too heavy for him to carry with his current amount. So, there is even where Deku does find more ammunition for the laser weapon he does have. And he even does find a few things that do surprise him. A piece of armor and a book. Now, Deku, he does get to look down at this piece of armor, as he's very confused. Now, Deku does get to actually hear footsteps and he's just going to do one thing. He does get to reach down towards the back of his waist and going to actually pull the spear as he's going to quickly spin and turn it. It's elongating and folding outwards as the yautja does just stand there with its hands upwards and actually going to back up a bit, as Deku is going to turn his head towards them. Now, the yautja does just ask Deku if he will fight worthy, or if he will fight with dishonor. I will fight, but I am curious about this piece. That piece. It connects to arm. Connects to arm? Yes. Now, Deku is going to do one thing. he does look down at the glove on his left hand, as he is going to put this piece directly onto his forearm. I'm actually going to press down on it and going to turn it as it does, well, start to make a few sounds. It piecing together and actually going to elongate and go upwards towards his forearm, and going towards the bend in his elbow. Now, it does just stop at least around that area where Deku can still move his arm. And he's just going to look down at it. Interesting. Now, Deku is going to turn towards the yautja, as it does just do one thing. It does go to remove all of its weapons, and even go to pull off the mask, as Deku is going to do the same thing. Now, after Deku does pull off the mask, he does look around. There are 3 other yautjas standing in this area, along with the one currently in front of him. Now, the yautjas are all staring at Deku. This is the worthy one. Now, Deku he does just ask the yautja as he's going to bring up his left hand if he should take this off. The yautja is telling Deku that he would need it. Now, Deku just stares at the yautja, as he does go to remove more of his weapons and even go to actually pull off his tattered shirt. As the yautjas, they do actually see how Deku does appear. His body does actually show a lot of muscle and training. Along with that is even the way he's been, you could call it, built. Now, it's very intriguing. And we actually do have where a yautja is currently watching this battle. Or at least this supply drop from somewhere up in the trees. Now, they're very curious about what will happen here, as their prey is currently in a lion's nest. If Deku does fail that battle, he will be taken as a trophy, and his head will be displayed as one of a worthy prey. However, this does not feel right. That was her trophy, her prey. This was the one she was supposed to hunt. Now, she is very annoyed. However, she knows that because of her failure, she cannot hunt him. She has proved she can be a blooded warrior. She has taken on other humans. And she's even taken on a xenomorph, being able to mark herself in its blood. Now, we actually have where Deku is going to bring up his hands and get into a fighting stance as the yautja is actually going to bring up his own hands. And Deku, he does just stare at the sky, as he can hardly see. The moonlight is illuminating everything, along with the flames around the area. So, these two are going to duke it out on a battlefield. Now, Deku, his heart is racing, and his blood is pumping. As the yautja, one of them do go to say begin, as Deku and this one do go rushing towards one another. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and to have an amazing day. I will catch you guys in the next part.